Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome to our coffee times to talk about horror. Today we have the first installment on my 12 by 12 in 2024. So back in December, I posted a video on a reading challenge that I wanted to start in 2024, and that was to read 12 books recommended by 12 friends. They are horror books, and some of them are books that are a little bit outside of my comfort zone. To keep it fun and entertaining, I decided to create papers with the recommendations so that I don't get to choose which one I read every month. It's gonna be random. I thought this would be fun, and these might work on my favor or against me because some books are bigger than others, are longer than others. So I thought this would be fun, and also it would make it a surprise for me to see which book I have to read. So I have put all the names inside of these like plant pots. Every plant that has been in here has perished very quickly, so I'm convinced that this is a plant pot of evil. So I thought, why not put these papers inside since no plant is surviving here anyways. And we're gonna pick the first book, the first thing that we're gonna read for the challenge in 2024. I'm scared, but let's see. All right. Okay, I have a paper. Let's see. No cheating. The Pale House Devil by Richard Kadri, and this was a recommendation from Olivia's Catastrophe. So this is going to be my first read in January, and I think this one was not too long, which is good for me. So let's get the book and let's get to reading. The time has come, you guys, to officially start reading the books for my 12 by 12 challenge. If you missed it, I'm gonna leave it linked down below, but I will be reading basically 12 books that 12 friends recommended, one every month. And the first book was already chosen, was already picked, and I've been able to find a copy of these for my Kindle. It is The Pale House Devil by Richard Kadri, and this was recommended to me by the lovely Olivia over at Olivia's Catastrophe, and I'm really excited about this one because she reads so many different types of books and genres. I'm always amazed at how mixed her reading is, and I'm also very jealous because she reads so many classics, chunky ones, like it's nothing. She makes it look so easy. So also when it comes to horror, she loves a lot of atmospheric gothic, I believe. So I'm excited to see if this one is those type of books. Guys, excuse me. Excuse me, guys. Who gave you permission? Guys. Morby. So Morby and Lilith are being troublemakers. Hi. Honey, mommy needs to see to read. Can we trade? Can we trade places? No? Okay. Guess that's that will be a no, you guys. Hello, you beautiful boy. And this is Lilith. She is mostly not in a great mood. She has a standard Monday morning face, which I adore. Hi, babes. Sure, make yourself at home. No problem. So the story starts with these two guys that are being sent somewhere to investigate. I believe it's probably like a haunted place. So from the two of them, I believe one of them is the investigator and the other one is undead himself. So apparently there is a way of calling the undead, and that is to call them dodos, but that is supposed to be like a bad term, is the meaning to ghosts, so they should not use that term. They should use a term that they prefer, which is marcher, or I don't know, it's French, so pardon my French because I don't speak it. But it's probably the ones that left, or I think the ones that left, or they are gone. So it's quite interesting, and they are both working together because they have both been hired, and they're kind of inside of a van, kind of like investigating the situation before probably going into the house, hopefully, because I think this is supposed to be a haunted house kind of story. Another thing that makes it already interesting from the get-go is that it's a little bit different from your typical paranormal investigators team, that kind of TV show of Ghostbusters that go somewhere that it's haunted. It is a lot more interesting because we have two people that couldn't be more different from each other that have been hired to go to this place to investigate, and one of them is an undead himself, so I'm already intrigued. Another thing that I find interesting is that they have an arrangement. So they are working together, and we have Ford, who is the one that is living, and the one that is alive, Ford, is the one responsible to kill the ghosts. And then we have Newland, who is the ghost, and he is responsible to kill the living. I like it. I like it. Not gonna lie, I love it. Makes also a lot of sense, I guess, you know, that the one that is alive gets rid of the ghost, and the one that it's a ghost can get rid of the living. I'm here for it. They're also having a very interesting conversation about who is it fair or justified to kill. How evil does someone have to be for them to actually eliminate that person or ghost? Which is something interesting, and they're also addressing the fact that is it different if it's a female or a male, if it's a woman or a man or not, which is an interesting conversation to bring to the table when they are already on the hunt, when they are already on the job. Okay, so from what I gather, actually they have been working together for a while. I thought they were just new on the job, but they have been doing this for a while, so they are very comfortable with each other, the two main characters, and the writing style is just amazing because the author can kind of talk from both voices of both characters, changing like flawlessly. It's just so fluid. It works so well. So it is a joy to read. It is easy to read. It is fast paced. And it's just a joy to see the two characters that are very different, but they work really well together. And so they have finished the job that they were doing, and they are up for a new adventure. And I love that they were at a restaurant, and of course Ford, who is the living one, was having food and all. And Newland has not been able to have food for a long time because, duh, he's a ghost. But he still orders a coffee because he doesn't want to be left out. And he sips a little bit on the coffee, knowing very well that he's probably gonna puke it later, but he wants to feel included and social, and so he orders himself a coffee, and that is the cutest thing ever. I've seen that done before in books. I think I read it in 16 Souls by Rosie Talbot, if I'm not mistaken, that because she also has living and ghosts all together in the same book, and they were, I think, also at a tavern or somewhere, and then one of the ghosts ended up getting something to drink that they ordered for him so he wouldn't feel left out, and that was so cute. And it is super cute to read here as well. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on updating you guys on how the book goes. I'm not gonna go into spoilers or anything like that. I'm not gonna talk about the ending or anything like that either. But I'm 20% into the book, and I think it's a good moment now to stop because I have to go in a second to bring my bird to the vet. So I will be back after that. So we have made it to the vet. I'm here with Dante, one of my parrots, because he has some sort of like, it's a possible vitamin deficiency. They don't know for sure, but his beak grows very long, very quickly. And so he cannot file it down by himself. So the vet has to file it down for him to make it more comfortable for him to eat. So we are trying to give him foods that are enriched with vitamins and other things and more proper food that this type of birds would find in the wild. But it's kind of been an adjustment. He's not a really big fan of those foods, but we are trying to introduce them into his diet to help him, to see if that helps solve the problem. Otherwise, basically, we have to come to the vet every month and a half or so for the rest of his life, which, you know, it's something we can do. I would do absolutely anything for my pets. So that's why we're here. And we're gonna get him fixed and then go back home. So here is Dante with a fixed beak. It's much shorter, and now we can go home. I know it looks like he's sick, and the doctor has explained to me that it's really hard to determine certain illnesses in really small birds. However, we're doing what we can. We are giving him vitamins. We have checked he doesn't have any fungal bacteria infection or anything like that. Otherwise, he seems healthy. There is nothing wrong with him apart from that. He's healthy. He eats, he drinks, he plays, he cuddles, he talks, he flies. So it's everything else, like he would be like a regular healthy bird, except for the beak, that is something that I realized was growing and growing some time ago, a couple of months ago. And yeah, he says there's not much more we can do apart from trying to help him with extra vitamins and things. And he's gonna go to a checkup every now and then. They check the weight and everything, if he looks healthy and all of that, because I want to be on top of things. But so far, that's the only thing we can do for him. And yeah, we're trying our best, but he's having a really good life. I know that the beak looks like he's very sick, but he's not. I promise you he's happy. I wouldn't let him be miserable in the cage or anything like that. So it's time to go back home and keep reading. And I'm back. Finally back under my blankie. It didn't take that long. The vet is not that far away from here. It's around 20 minutes, a bit less under 20 minutes from here, but it's the only vet that takes parrots for this type of treatments, for kind of like filing down the beak and stuff like that. So I have to go to a specialist. The other vet for the cats is much closer. It's not even 10 minutes from here, but it is what it is. So I'm back to my book. I need to be quick because I also have, like I said, acting classes later tonight. So I'm gonna try to read as much as I can before that. And I think I'll also take my Kindle with me so I can read on my way there and on the way back. So who knows, maybe I still am able to finish it today. Otherwise, I'll finish it tomorrow. But I mean, so far I'm only 20% in and I'm really enjoying it. So far it's a smash for the first one. But let's see, you know, things can change. Things can take a turn for the worst, especially with book endings. If you know, you know. You've probably been burned before by a book ending, especially those where it's really like, oh, I like this, I'm loving it, I'm loving it, I'm loving it, and then exactly like 10 pages left, everything just falls apart. That is so cruel. So let's hope this doesn't happen with this, but let's keep reading, you guys. That we have made it to 56% of the book, so I'm flying through it. As you can see, it's just so like well written in a way that it's so easy to flash through it and still really enjoy it. It's almost like it's going too fast, because I'm really enjoying the characters. It's fascinating how sometimes characters can be so charismatic and already have a hold on you when it's a novella and it's so fast-paced. And other times I have tried to read chunkier books where I could not for the love of God connect with the characters. So it tells a lot about the different types of authors and their writing style and how they develop the characters. I'm still really enjoying it, as you can tell. So basically our two main characters have been now hired for the main job, I guess, from the book, which is to help a grumpy old man with a lot of money. And the granddaughter has went to pick up these two guys and tell them about the assignment, see if they want to take it. It's a lot of money that they're offering them, so of course they want to take the job. And the job, as you know, we assumed from the synopsis, is to go to this pale house and to expel the evil that is inside of there for the millionaire, for the guy. Apparently other people have tried to get rid of this evil, but nobody has been able to. There's been also some talk about magic, some voodoo. I'm really interested to see if that is gonna have any impact in the second half of the book, if they're gonna use any kind of magic to try to expel this evil. And there's been a couple of chapters in between that are told from the perspective of that kind of entity, that evil, that creature, that monster, whatever it is that lives inside of Pale House. And those have been a little bit Lovecraftian, and those are quite interesting to read, because it is this kind of creature, entity, whatever it is, talking to itself about times when people came into the house, and how this creature or entity fed, and all of those cool things. So those, I think it has been 2 or 3 little chapters that do read a little bit more Lovecraftian. So I'm excited to see how that is going to play out in the second half of the book. Now, because I'm gonna be reading it on my way to acting class and back, since I have to take the train, and I'll probably read a little bit while I'm waiting for the train and all of that. I'm probably gonna also take a coffee while I'm waiting, so I don't know if I can comment so much while I am out and about, but I will definitely let you know if I finish the book today and my final thoughts on the book, plus my rating. But so far it's looking great, so I think my friendship with Olivia is gonna stay in a really good positive note so far, because nearly 60% in, and I'm really enjoying the book that she recommended. It is the end of January, to be exact. It is the 30th of January, so I thought I would sit down and pick up the next book that we're going to be reading for this experiment. So same as last time, I have all the names of the books and the people that recommended it to me inside of this planter, because no plant has ever survived longer than a couple of months in it. So currently it just serves as a, I guess, TBR jar of sorts. So we're gonna pick up the one for February, and February is a month where I have a lot of plans of things that I want to do. Plus, it is a shorter month, or it always feels shorter than the other months for some reason. I guess it's something psychological, because I think this year the month of February has 29 days, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, I'm scared of picking up the Reformatory because it's a chunker. I'm really excited to read it, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if 600 pages book is what I need for the month of February. So fingers crossed. Let's shake it up a little bit. I'm terrified. Okay. All right. I picked one. Oh God. Oh, okay. It's not the Reformatory. It is The Cipher by Kathy Koja, and this was a recommendation by Katrina Brown. But I know it is Alex's favorite book, or one of her favorite books, Alex over at the Bookabus. So it's a book that I've always had on my wish list ever since I discovered Alex's channel years ago. So I am so excited to finally be reading it, but also slightly terrified because I just don't want to hate the books that the people that I like love, if that makes sense. You know, I think it's the typical thing of if your friends enjoy a movie or a book and then you read it and you don't like it at all, it's like a weird feeling because you're supposed to like the things that your friends like. In a way, I'm not making any sense now, am I? Anyway, I'm gonna order the book, and as soon as it gets to me, we're gonna read it together and find out what I think of it. The day has come, you guys. Today I'm gonna start reading The Cipher by Kathy Koja, and I am kind of, I don't know if I'm more scared than excited, because you know when someone has been raving about the book a lot, or you have seen multiple people that you trust talking really good about a book or talking about their favorite book, and you finally get to read it and it's like a lot of pressure. So that's how I feel about The Cipher by Kathy Koja. I feel like a lot of times I've been a little bit kind of intimidated of picking it up because of the hype, at least from people that I know and trust on the booktube community that really love the book, and I'm like, why if I pick it up and I don't like it? Now, this is a book from 1991, so those kind of like, I don't know if I can say vintage. I mean, the 90s is not really vintage yet, but those kind of books have also a very different vibe when it comes to the writing and the stories. And I'm really excited though. Even though I'm scared, I'm still excited. But before we jump to that, I got a package with 2 books. So these 2 books are really not related to this vlog, but they came today, so I thought I will show them to you guys because I have been really excited about these books. So I saw Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe raving about these books and how much she loved them, flew through them, and it's, you know, something that she really loved. And these are books that I had been meaning to pick up anyway, and I was like, no, I have to. And I found them secondhand, really good price here in the Netherlands, so I decided to get them, and I don't know, I'm really excited to read them. And they are Wolf Song and Raven Song, and I've been meaning to pick these ones up because these are werewolf books and also queer books, so queer werewolves, and I was like, yes please. These are very chunky, so I was a little bit hesitant to pick them up, but seeing how much Olivia loved and enjoyed these books, I decided to get them. Also, I got a really good deal because I checked on Amazon and it was 17 euros per volume, and I managed to buy both of them for 17 euros, and they are in new condition, so it was also a bargain. It's just basic girl book math, so it was a steal. I couldn't say no, I couldn't pass it, and I also bought it with some money that I had from sales, so you know, again, as a book girl math, these were free. If you guys have tried these books, let me know down below if you enjoy them, if you love them. I know there's a third one as well, so if I enjoy these ones, I'll be picking up the third one. But like I said, they're very chunky, so we shall see when I have time to squeeze these ones in. And now let's get to reading The Cipher. The first step, of course, is to grab some nice hot coffee and make ourselves comfortable. Coffee has been acquired, and you guys, I've made it extra special today with a little bit of cinnamon and everything, so I'm ready to start reading. Okay, so here's what we know so far. Apparently, we are following Nakota and her ex, and they are still in good terms with each other. It seems that they are friendly with each other, even though the ex wants her back or still has feelings for her. And they live in an apartment building in which there is something that they call the fun hole, which is a hole that's very black. So they compare it, of course, with the black holes, and they don't know where it leads to, if it's dangerous. They haven't touched it, so they discuss if they should try to go through it, if they should try to throw something in it, see what happens. But I wonder why, if this hole is there in this apartment building, nobody else has said something. Like, I don't know. I guess it's all part of the mystery, part of the weirdness and awkwardness of it. Like, I've read other or watched other horror movies about holes in the wall. One of them I remember was very, very weird. If I remember the name of the movie, I will put the poster for you guys. It was very weird. So I'm thinking this is gonna be one of those weird horror tales, and I'm hoping to be here for the ride, because those can be a hit or a miss for me when it gets really weird. Weird fiction sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work for me, so hopefully this one is gonna be good. Okay, quick update. So, a couple of things. I'm finding the whole black hole or fun hole, whatever, interesting, because I don't know if it's connecting to another dimension, to hell itself, if it's the black hole an entity in itself. Is this supposed to be more sci-fi, more fantasy? I don't know yet, so I'm finding that very interesting. And our main characters are doing several experiments. So first they try to put a jar filled with different bugs, like as close from the hole as possible, to see if there's any reaction. It doesn't end up really well for the bugs. And now they have tried to put a little mouse, and it hasn't also ended up really well, at least not for the mouse. So I'm finding that interesting. But one thing that I'm not a big fan of, and I'm only 9% into the book because it's a chunky book, so it's, I think, 369 pages, give or take. One thing I'm not a fan of is there is no chapter split. At least no so far. And I love chapter splits because it gives me time to process information. I think when it's split into chapters, for some reason it tricks your mind into thinking that you are reading a lot faster than you are, which also motivates you, subconsciously. So when I don't have any sort of chapter split, I struggle a little bit more to get through books. It's kind of like my own personal, my own personal taste as a reader. I love chapters. And if they are short chapters, even better. I don't know, I just really enjoy it. I love the splits. So that's something that I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know if it's just because I have the ebook edition, but it shouldn't be different from the physical book. But yeah, I'm gonna keep reading a little bit more today. So there are chapters, but it's taking me to get to 15% to get to the end of chapter 1, which is a lot. So they are long as chapters, which is not something I love, but we're dealing with it. So I'm not gonna spoil anything big or major about what's going on. So they're still doing experiments on this fun hole. Nakota had considered a cat, but she likes cats, so she discarded the idea, bless her soul. So Nakota is a character that I feel from the both of them is the least likable character from the both. But I appreciate that she wanted to respect cats, and instead she's using the hand of a deceased person for the next experiment. Things you should know for trigger warnings so far is there is some gore, there is some sex, and kind of weird stuff. It's hard to describe. I don't want to spoil anything, but it is an intense book. I feel like this book could have also fit on my list of disturbing books that I want to read because it is quite disturbing. It's also very weird. And like I said, it's something that I don't usually pick up because I feel like weird fiction is not for me. But I'm gonna give it the best run that I can. I mean, so far I don't feel like I want to put it down or DNF it or anything like that, but I do feel like the way the story is told and how weird things are is not 100% my cup of tea, but I'm also just 15% into the book, so I don't want to judge it too quickly. So I don't have so much more time today, I think, to read, but I will read a little bit more and then I keep reading it probably later tomorrow. It's gonna take me a little bit longer to read than the first book because obviously the first one was a novella and I could read it in just one day. This one is nearly 400 pages. It's gonna take me a little bit longer, but I want to read a little bit more now until I have to go back to work because I want to really get a good idea and good grasp of the book before putting it down, especially when it's like weird books, awkward stuff. I feel like if I read only little chunks here and there, it's harder for me to really get the full picture. So with these types of books, I feel like it works best for me if I read bigger chunks in one go. So that's what we're gonna do. I have a last update for today. I made it to 21% and I think I'm gonna leave it here for a first sprint into the book. So I wanted to clarify a couple of things. When I said the book contains sex, it's not exactly smut or nice sex. It's actually weird, bizarre, even a little bit disturbing. Just putting it out there in case you don't like that kind of content. It's also not my favorite because it's very like, ew, you know, it's gross. It's not pleasant intercourse. And it has also a trigger warning, I guess, for drugs, because apart from alcohol and cigarettes, they also mention pills and stuff, so there is harder drugs that are mentioned in the book. And so far what I gather is that Nakota is a lot more obsessed than Nicholas about this hole, and her obsession is starting to get dangerous. So they're still trying different things and they've managed to get some images and stuff. And Nakota is obsessed watching this film of images. It is very bizarre and disturbing. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not loving it as much as I had hoped. But it has nothing to do with the book or the author. It's just that for me, this type of stories don't grab me the same way as others. I know when I have weird fiction, awkward stuff, it's not always going to be my cup of tea. But I'm enjoying the weirdness of it all, and I'm enjoying Nicholas as a character a lot. So I'm still having a good time. I'm enjoying it, and I made it far. But I'm not loving it as much as I had hoped. But things might change later. We shall see. For today, we're done with the book, and I'll get back to you guys another day when I pick it up again. But so far, I mean, enjoying it. Good morning, it's a brand new day and today I'm going to continue reading The Cipher by Kathy Koja. I am a little bit scared because I am not loving it as much as I had hoped. So I'm a little bit scared that I'm not going to be able to push through for some reason. I don't know. Depends, I guess, on how weird it gets or how cosmic in a way, because cosmic horror, I have learned, is not exactly for me. But I'm gonna push through because these books that I have, 12 books for 2024, recommended by friends from the community, I am gonna push through. I am not allowed to DNF them because I feel like I need to give them a fair chance and get to the end to be able to decide if I love them or not. But before we do that, I think it's time to sort out some books and unhold them because I have been keeping like a constant TBR pile of books that I hope to read one day, and those books have been there for years and I still have not read them. I still have not touched them. Some of them I do want to still keep, but a lot of them are books that I might not be even interested in them anymore. So what's the point in keeping them? I think it's best just to get rid of them, donate them, whatever. And in the future, if I come across the title again, or if I want to read them, I can still get them probably on my Kindle, because chances are if I have not read them in years and I have not had the urge to pick them up, the majority of them are not going to be books that I'm that interested in reading anymore. Maybe at some point I was, or maybe they were on sale and I got them. So it's time to sort through those, because they are also inside of my cart where I keep my new books. So they're taking up space for new books that I can put there until I do my next book haul, and it's annoying me, so we have to fix it. So here's the cart that I was talking to you about. The one over there is my regular TBR cart, but this one here is here mostly for books that I hope to read in the future and books that I need to haul. So all of these books here are books that I hope to read soon, but I haven't touched in a long time. Here are new books that I'm keeping for the next book haul, and at the bottom are more books that I have set up aside to read at some point but I still haven't touched. And here are some tote bags. So I feel like I'm missing so much space here for new books to haul and to have a better overview of the new books that I have, that I need to unhaul the other books. So here are the books that I'm keeping. I have here now a little bit of free space. And also at the very bottom, I have made more space for books as well. These are the books that I'm gonna try a couple of chapters and then decide if I keep them or not. And these are the books that I have decided that for now, they have to go. Today is actually a Saturday, and I do have a couple of hours to spare now to sit down and read. So I thought it is a great time for me to catch up with the cipher, because I have been working so much the last week that I have not really had so much time for reading at all. And I also don't want to wait too long to read the second chunk of the book, because I might forget everything that I learned in the first part, especially when it comes to weird fiction or books that are almost touching I don't want to say cosmic horror, because I still don't know what's gonna go on here, but it feels weird. It feels like it's maybe going in that direction, and I've said that many times before, but it might not be for me because of those reasons. However, I do enjoy the characters and how to put this, how awkward they are in a way, and I am still intrigued about the mystery surrounding this whole. So I'm hoping today to read the second part. So far, Nakota is still obsessed with the video, and the guy's trying to make her stop her obsession, but that only drives her away from him, and she's not telling people about it, and people are coming to ask now about the video to where Nicholas works. And Nicholas also has an infection in his hand, and that is very much body horror. There's a lot of descriptions of that wound and things oozing out of it and stuff, so I like that part of it. I like the body horror, that it is intense, and I still like Nicholas a lot as a character. Not so much Nakota, as I said, but I do like Nicholas, so I kind of feel for him. So that's something that is keeping me interested in the story. I'm really hoping that at some point we are actually gonna get an explanation for this fun hole, and for you know, the video and everything, because if not, I'm gonna riot. If I read this whole book and there is no explanation about the whole, I'm gonna be unhappy customer. But yeah, we shall see, you guys, we shall see. I have made it to 42%, which is exactly, you know, 21% more. And it's exactly also the start of a new chapter, so it is a perfect way to end this reading session for today. Things that have happened. So, Nicola's hand is getting worse, which was to be anticipated. Nakota is still being a bitch. So Nicholas went to a friend's house for a couple of days to distance himself from everything. Nakota keeps telling him that he's the one that somehow really brings the whole to life, that without him it's not the same, that he needs to be there for the whole to interact with them and stuff. One of the people that is really interested in the whole is a guy named Randy, and he is now kind of their friend and hangs out with them, and they check out the whole together. It's just weird. It's like, imagine being to people, hey, there is this hole and weird shit happens with it. Do you want to come and see it? It's a party, you know, bring beer, let's celebrate. I don't know, it's just so weird, but I still really like Nicholas as a character. I really like him. I'm still rooting for him, even though he's the one that is the most connected to this thing, and I don't know how that's gonna affect him. This book is a little bit older. It's from the 90s, so there's mentions of VHS tapes and stuff like that, and Nicholas works at a video store, so it's very nostalgic for me. I used to work at a video store myself, you know, renting movies to people and stuff. And I used to work with VHS, and then we transitioned into DVDs and stuff. So, I don't know, it's nostalgic to me. I'm still enjoying it, and it's getting easier to read now that I know the characters a little bit more, and I know more or less the things that are going on with them. But I'm still really intrigued about why these people and why this hole appeared in their apartment building all of a sudden. I don't know. I don't know where this is going, so yeah, but I'll catch up with you guys on my next reading session where we will be reading up until 60%. Hello, hello, hello. It is another gray, rainy day in the Netherlands today, but I do have to leave the house today, so I thought I would take you with me. I am going to go pick up a package. Yes, it is a book. It is a secondhand book. I'll show it to you later. And I also have to go get a couple of groceries, like bread, like basic stuff like that. So I thought I would take you with me, and then we can sit down together and keep reading the cipher. It's getting to the point where we are like halfway through the book, and I am really intrigued to see if this is gonna take like a complete bizarre turn, even though a hole in the wall that does weird things to people, it's also kind of already pretty bizarre, let's face it. Anyway, let's go to the post office, which here basically it's a flower shop sometimes, and also go to get a couple of groceries and come back home. We're back home. I had lunch, I finished work, so we are getting ready now to start reading a little bit more of the cipher. But before I do that, I do want to show you the book that I got today, and that is a second-hand book that I was trying to find, and it's The Chalkman by C.J. Tudor. The reason being is I got her first book, The Chalkman, in paperback back in the day when I was in England, and after that I started collecting her books in hardcovers, and so I never had the first book in hardcover, and I wanted to find a copy that was in good condition and that had this specific like old cover, because I think it has been re-released in hardcover, but I don't like the new one, so I really wanted to get this one. I finally got it for a really good price. I think I only paid €8 for it. It's in great condition, and now I finally have all the books by CJ Tudor in hardcover, which was my mission. I still have some coffee left, obviously. Brewing coffee is something standard in this house, happens multiple times a day, and it's nice when you turn off your like PC or laptop when you finish your working day and can relax with a book. So that is the scenario right now, and I'm really excited to dive back into the cipher because I've been reading it in chunks, as you know. So I've not been reading it every single day, and I am excited to see where this is going. Unfortunately, I feel like I don't have so many like great thoughts about the book so far because it's just so bizarre, and there are certain things that have happened that I don't want to mention because I don't really want to spoil the fun for you guys in case you still want to check it out. So I'm sorry if this, you know, book review is not as great as the other ones, but I just don't know. This is such a bizarre book. Okay, so we were at 42%, so I'm gonna aim today to read until 60, 63 or something like that. We will see. I always love to end at the end of a chapter if I can, but these chapters are very long. But yeah, let's get to reading, and I'll be back with you guys to let you know my thoughts on this next chunk of the book. So I made it to 67% of the book, and I have the same feeling so far. I feel like this is just not the type of book for me. And it's weird because sometimes I enjoy the more bizarre stories. I'm even open to this whole like thing of the fun hole in the wall and horrible things happening and the whole having a pull on people. Like, it's an idea that I like, but I'm not really enjoying the book. And it's also not the writing, because I think the writing style is good. I think the author is very talented. So it has also nothing to do with the writing. And also not even the pacing, because it's a bit slower perhaps than other books, but it's not extremely slow. It's not such a slow burn. I don't know. There's something about it that I can't quite connect with. And that's what is making me enjoying it less than I expected. I do have to say I'm still a fan of Nicholas. I still really enjoy him as a character. And I'm still rooting for him. But his relationship with Nakota and the relationship he has later on with other friends, everything just feels so toxic and so bad. And I don't enjoy seeing that, even though I guess that's the point of the book. Like, I understand why the author is doing that, but I'm not enjoying even the relationships between the characters because I just don't think those are healthy relationships, and their obsessions that they have and everything that they're going through. I don't know. I don't know, but I feel like it's not the book for me, and I'm sad about it. Because I've always, you know, heard Alex talking about it so much and loving it, and, you know, I was hoping I was gonna love it too, but I don't. So I'm really sorry that I'm not really enjoying this book. I thought we were off to a good start. I really enjoyed the first book that was recommended to me. The second one is not working that well. But what can you do, right? It's life. It is what it is. We're all very different types of readers. And like I said, it's nothing with the writing or even the story. I really like Nicholas, but there's something about the book that I just cannot connect with the whole thing. I cannot get as invested as I was hoping to be. It's hard to describe it without spoiling too much about the book, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read now to the end, and then I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on the book. I have finished The Cipher by Kathy Koja, so I'm here to give you my final thoughts on the book. I have decided to give this book a 3 out of 5, so not too bad, but I am a little bit disappointed that I didn't love it as much as I had hoped. Now, this is my first Kathy Koja book, so I don't know if all her books are the same type of weird and bizarre kind of fiction, because then maybe it's not the author for me. The cipher is basically the story of Nakota and Nicholas. They find this hole and they name it the fun hole, and Nicholas puts his hand in it, and after that it's when things really start to change for them. Now, things that I really enjoyed about the book: I enjoy the writing style so much. I think that the author is really talented, is wonderfully written. I understand the choices that were made because it makes sense when you take a look at the story and the characters, and then I understand certain things that the author did. However, I was not a fan of a lot of it. Now, when it comes to the characters, these are characters that are not likable, at least the majority of them. I did like Nicholas and I was kind of rooting for him, but I didn't like any of the other characters at all. I thought the relationships were really toxic, but you know, having this type of characters doesn't mean that I'm not gonna enjoy a book if at least I have one character that I enjoy, and I did find that in Nicholas. I think at the beginning is a lot easier to follow, and then after a while you end up being perhaps a little bit more confused about the whole situation, but I think it makes sense in a way because you are supposed to be seeing things and reading things from inside Nicholas' mind and how his mind, his body deteriorates after coming in contact, in touch with that hole. There is this whole obsession with the hole. It starts really early on, and I guess you could say for me the book was a little bit repetitive in that sense. But again, I think everything had a purpose, and I do understand why people really love this book, even though it was not for me, but I can see why it's really good for others. So unfortunately, it was not one of my favorites. I probably will not read something else by the author, at least not right away. But it's not a complete fail, I guess. You know, it's not like I hated it. I also didn't DNF it, so I'm not gonna count it as a really big loss, and I'm just gonna accept that the concept is great, the writing style is great, but the book in general was just not for me. I would also tell you that the body horror is really good, and I think the author really knows how to bring that body horror, and that was really well executed as well. And now that we have finished book 2 for the 12 by 12 experiment, it is time to draw the third book. Let's see which book do I have to read in the month of March. Okay, let's see. Cruel Summer by Juno Dawson. And this was chosen by Shelley over at Tales Point Horror Books, and I'm really excited that I got this one because the cipher was very intense and it did require a lot of my brain, and this one I think is going to be a more easy to read, comfy mystery thriller, so I'm really excited about it. Good morning, guys. It is March. It is the 1st of March actually, and I thought we would get to reading together the next book on my 12 by 12 challenge. We're here to start reading Cruel Summer. It is currently not summer, spoiler alert. It is really gray outside and it's rainy. I was hoping by today we were gonna have better weather so I could get more into the book, but it is what it is. Destiny has chosen this book to be the book that I read in March, and we have to run with it. And so I'm just gonna enjoy it anyway. I mean, I am assuming that takes place in the summer. I still have not read it, but based on the title and the cover, that's what I'm assuming. I also feel like, I'm not sure, but I think it's a group of friends that go somewhere on holidays and one of them probably gets murdered and they have to figure out what's going on. That's kind of like the vibe that it's giving me. So I'm really excited to read it. It is by Juno Dawson. And so far I have only read her book called Say Her Name, which is a retelling on Bloody Mary, and I really enjoyed that one. Of course, being a retelling of Bloody Mary, you kind of know what's going to happen or what to expect from that one, so I am excited to read something completely different by her. I know she wrote Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which is very popular. I think book 2 is already out. I'm not sure if there's any more out. I have been considering that one, but I am not the biggest kind of reader when it comes to fantasy and stuff like that, and I think that one goes more a little bit in that direction. But I think the covers are stunning. Whenever I see them, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to read it just because the covers are so cute. That's a problem when you're a reader. Sometimes you feel compelled to read things just because you like the cover. But today, anyway, we're here to read Cruel Summer in the middle of a rainy, gray day. But maybe, you know, maybe it's gonna give me good vibes to get excited for the good weather once it kicks in here in the Netherlands. So yeah, maybe it just gives me that summer comfort that I need right now when it's still gray outside. So here we have it. Cruel Summer, it's murder under the sun. Dun dun dun. Here's the cover, and yeah, I'm really excited to relax with a good thriller, hopefully. Sometimes it's nice to just read a nice mystery thriller in between horrors, you know? So let's get to it. Time to give you my first thoughts on the book and tell you a little bit of what the book is about. So there is a little prologue at the beginning, and we get to see Janie. She is at the edge of a cliff, and she is considering to jump because of something that happened to her, and she doesn't know if she can face it and people's judgment and all of that. So she is considering to jump, but she doesn't really jump. Instead, someone approached her, and we believe that she was pushed. So that is like a prologue of what happened. And now we are a year after, and Janie's friends decide to reunite after being 1 year apart, and they decide to go back to the villa to spend the summer together for 2 weeks. And the villa belongs to one of the friends' parents, so it belongs to Kate's dad. And so they can be there for 2 weeks in this beautiful villa in Spain near the beach, and spend some quality time together after they had been apart for 1 year because everybody has went to college somewhere different. So we get to see the friends reunite, and we get to read it from the perspective of different characters. The first character that we get to know really well is Ryan, and the way he speaks in his chapters I really love, because he talks as if it was a TV show. He feels like if he sees life as a TV show, things don't seem so final, so serious, including Janie's death. And he's also convinced that Janie's death is not a suicide. It was ruled a suicide, of course, but he believes that there was foul play. And he's determined to figure out what happened to her. So I'm really excited about that, obviously. But for the most part, we're just getting to know the characters. Their friends are being reunited with each other. I love the writing style. It flows really well. It's really fast-paced, really entertaining. It's really interesting because probably these characters also have kept secrets from each other. That's what I'm guessing. It's also really fun for me to see how the author writes about Spain from a perspective of someone that, you know, didn't grow up there. And she mentioned sangria, in that Katie did her own sangria, and that is something that I have done in the past as well. Like when I've been invited to parties in Germany and stuff, they always ask me to do sangria, but people underestimate how high on alcohol that shit is, and I got a lot of my friends drunk really quickly. So it's really tasty if you get the right one, the good one, not the cheap one. If you go to a really good place where they do really good sangria, it's really tasty, but it can also be quite, you know, alcoholic, so be careful of how much you drink of that. I've also read a little bit from Alicia's point of view, which is one of the twin sisters. I also read a little bit from Alicia's point of view, which is one of the twins, and she's the only one that had to repeat her senior year. She didn't graduate together with everybody else, so she's also very excited to finally have that behind her and enjoy 2 weeks of summer with her friends. I wanted to take a break from reading to go grab a snack because I'm hungry, but Logan is passed out on top of me. He's having a really good nap, so I am not allowed to leave. So instead I have been reading, and I'm here to give you another update. So these kids have figured out that they are basically in a villa in a foreign country in Spain, and they are miles away from civilization, plus their connection is not really good, which means that they cannot really use much of internet or phone to ask for help in case something happens. So they started talking about all the horror tropes, you know, like the final girl, who would die first in a horror movie, and all of that. And that was so much fun for me to read. You know, I love this kind of stuff in books and movies, like that kind of self-awareness of the tropes of horror. So that was a lot of fun for me to read. Greg, which is the twin brother, he has with him his girlfriend Erin, and she is the only one that is not part of the friends group, so she doesn't know them so well. She doesn't know them for many years, and she didn't know anything about what happened to Janie. He brought up the topic of Janie and her death and how he thinks that she did not commit suicide. You know, there was no like a suicide note, she had no real reason for doing it, and he still suspects that probably someone that was a friend or someone that he even knows was the one that pushed her. And the last thing that has happened is that a new character has arrived to the villa, a girl named Roxanne. And apparently she used to be like the popular girl at school, and she used to, you know, steal other girls' boyfriends. So she's not really good friends with them, but Katie invited her thinking she was not gonna show up. But Roxanne's like, "What's up, bitches? I'm here." And now Alicia is hating it because Roxanne stole her boyfriend Callum some time ago, and she's still mad about it. So now Alicia is like, if she stays, I'm leaving, and you know, it's all of this drama and stuff. But I'm really enjoying it. I love the way that she has written the characters and these interventions. Like, everything flows so well and it's just so interesting. I just want to keep reading more about these characters and about what happened to Janie. And it's interesting because I'm already like 22% into the book, and there has not been much information about Janie at all, which is kind of like the main focus here because she is in the middle of our murder mystery that we need to solve. But I'm still enjoying so much to get to know all the other characters, and I wonder how things are gonna resolve. I'm guessing that every single one of these people that are in this villa has secrets, obviously, and maybe one of them is responsible for Janie's death, but we don't know who. And since they are indeed a little bit incommunicated, it's going to be interesting how things are going to play out once someone figures out what actually happened to Janie. So really intrigued, and since this one is still very much passed out, I'm gonna keep reading for a little bit longer and then grab my snack because I can't move right now. I don't have the heart to move this baby. I can't. Good news and bad news. Good news, I'm really enjoying the book. Bad news, Logan is still passed out. And not only am I hungry now, I also really need to pee. So, don't know what to do. He's just super chill. But anyway, it's coming to the point where I cannot tell you so much about the book because I don't want to do spoilers, especially not when it comes to the mystery. So Roxanne has joined them. We know that Alicia doesn't like her for her reasons. And they are having a good time so far. They've decided to bury the hatchet, but Roxanne is here to stir the pot. And she wants to play a game of Never Have I Ever. And she brings back up Janie and the so-called suicide. And she tells them that she is convinced that Janie did not commit suicide. In fact, she is convinced that one of them that is present at the moment in the villa is responsible for her death, and that someone else was with her at the edge of the cliff, and that person is sitting there in the circle. So she just dropped that bomb there. She says she has proof. So I'm really excited now to know what's gonna go on, because this is like a twist on the story, and I'm only 31% in. Things are already starting to get interesting. So I guess I'm gonna keep reading for as long as Logan decides to stay on top of me and have his nap. And after that, I'm gonna take a break from the book so that I can actually go to the toilet and get myself a snack because I'm hungry. I'm hungry, babes. I'm hungry. I'm here to update you guys on my reading progress for Cruel Summer by Juno Dawson. And I'm glad to report that I have made it to 55% into the book, and I have more thoughts. Last time we spoke, we found out that Roxy, which is the girl that joined them, and not everybody was excited that she was there, but she dropped a bomb in the room. So we follow the characters the days after that, and there are some things that happen that I'm not going to talk about because spoilers, but there are at least 2 different twists that happen from 30% to 55% that I read. So there were 2 twists that were really good. I mean, one you kind of expect, and the other one was like, what the actual hell? Which is the last one that just happened, and I'm really excited about it because now everything is about to change. I know it sounds really mysterious, but I just don't want to spoil you the plot in case that you guys decide to pick it up, because honestly, I do recommend this one so far. Say hi, Morby. Hi. And I can see why Shelley would really enjoy this one, because it is in a way giving me, you know, point horror YA book vibes. So I see why it would be a book of her taste. And I think that Juno Dawson is great at writing YA mystery thrillers or horror, you know, because she also wrote Say Her Name that I really enjoyed. So I'm really glad that I picked this one up. And even though it's kind of like a read for the summer, I'm not mad at all that I am reading it at the moment. Excuse me, sir, I'm trying to tell people about a book. So I just wanted to update you guys on that little chunk that I had read before I forget. But I am really having such a good time, also because of course now I'm trying to figure out who is responsible for what, and there have been a couple of flashbacks as well to the prom night where something happened to Janie. And this is not serious. This is not serious. And I've also enjoyed the flashbacks because it allows me to see also the character's personality before everything happened. And I'm trying to pinpoint who could be responsible, who could be the one that we're trying to find from this group of friends that has a really big secret. So yeah, so far it's entertaining, fast-paced, fun YA mystery thriller. I'll update you guys as soon as I have finished it to let you know my last thoughts in my reading, but so far I'm glad that I'm really enjoying it. I'm finally sitting down to finish Cruel Summer, and I thought since I am currently doing reading sprints with my Patreons, I could just finish the book because, you know, I really need to get to edit this vlog and get it up as soon as possible. And so far, you know, the first book I really enjoyed. The second one was not exactly my cup of tea, which doesn't mean it was a bad book, but this one is such a fun and fast-paced book that I'm having a really good time. So I really want to finish it, and I think I will be picking up more things by June Dawson. This is the second book I read by the author, and I have enjoyed both so far, but let's see how it ends, because sometimes we all know endings can make or break a book. And just like that, I finished Cruel Summer by Juno Dawson. So let's discuss. Most of what I had left today was basically the ending, so mostly the big reveal, and it was quite exciting because the whole time the book is building up to something, obviously, and we know that at some point we're gonna figure out who is responsible for everything. And I like that this is kind of a murder mystery on a secluded location. Our characters are in a villa in Spain, unable to call for help, and that allows us to feel, you know, the dread and the despair of the characters because they cannot run for cover. They are kind of stuck there together with these people, and these people that they consider friends and people they know, but one of them is a killer. This premise is something that I really enjoyed in thrillers, and I think this is one of the best YA mystery thrillers that I have read when it comes to having different POVs and having a murder mystery to solve that gets more and more intricate as we go. I did enjoy all the different POVs, which is something that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you favor one POV over the other one, but I really enjoyed here to hear from all different characters. And also, once the reveal happens, I love something that the author did, which is similar to, you know, the resolution in the Saw movies, where at the end you get explained exactly how everything came to be and why we are here. And I really enjoy that. I really enjoy the reveal. I enjoy the explanation for everything, and I think it's a very, very solid read. So far from the 3 books that I have read that were recommended to me, 2 I have really enjoyed, and like I said, the other one, and I'm really sad because it is The Cipher, was kind of a little bit of a letdown for me because it was just not my style. But the book was not bad, it's just it was not for me, and I was a little bit sad about it. And that's gonna be all for this reading vlog, and I'm gonna be starting part 2, reading 3 more books for this experiment, let's say. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this first reading vlog on my 12 by 12 series, and let me know down below if you have read these books and if you enjoy them or not. I hope that you had a good time, and I will see you all, as always, in our next coffee time. Bye guys!